Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 7 of the European Formula Esports Series. It is assists tonight on this wonderful Tuesday evening where we go around racing the most iconic track of all, Silverstone in the UK, a well-liked track by drivers and fans galore, which always provides an entertaining race. And with only 4 rounds left of this championship, a win for FZR today could really see themselves clear of the pack. And that might be a detriment to all the other teams. They have got 2 wins on the bounce, and they look to make it 3 this evening, as we have got short quali underway, 18 minutes to decide the grid for Silverstone, and obviously weather can go anyway in the UK. So don't be surprised if you do see a good bit of rain come the race day. As I said, FZR on a bit of a roll at the minute. The other teams just do not have a response. It was Thunder with the win last time out in the USA and in Brazil as well, I should say. So Thunder's really the one who is really getting the points here for FZR. And the rest, I've got to find a way to counter that because they currently have a 39 point lead, I should say. And that is, if it wasn't already insurmountable, another win today would really, I think, cement the title, really. So TDR, I've got to show up today. And then a few others like OMB and RNT with an outside chance, but they really need a bit of a miracle. We await to get going. Surprisingly, no cars out on track at the moment. So as I say that, I have seen personnel running out onto track, and the first car out will be the Alpine. So the MTK of Vladislav, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly for everybody's sake. Well, just 4 rounds left of the Assist Championship. And Silverstone's really a track where you're going to want to get a huge heap of points on the board. Very easy to overtake. Only 2 braking zones, really, on the track. Heavy ones at that. And expect a plethora of DRS trains come the race. But, as I say that, DRS trains also leads to difficult to overtaking, as people are just stuck in the trains with one another, difficult to overtake. So, it's just going to make qualifying all the more important. And the MTK of Vladislav will be eager to start near the front to boost their hopes of getting somewhere near the top 3 in the championship. Because MTK only sit 8th at the minute, but only 26 points off of 4th, so it is very tight in the midfield of the championship. And he's not got his teammate too far behind him, so the MTK is looking to get laps early on in this session. But riding on board with the MCK, coming out the final corner, we will take you through a lap of Silverstone. So ERS burning down the main straight and into turn 1. Stays in 8th gear, goes wide as possible and cut back into turn 2. Heavy braking into turn 3. Shift down. You don't want to hit that curb, which is what Vladislav did. But then on the inside for turn 4, avoid the inside curving again. And then on the traction as steady as you want. Hug the curb on the inside and another first DRS straight. Down the Wellington straight, waiting for Luffield, breaking out of the 50-meter board, swings it in 4th gear, kisses the apex nicely, then back to the right for Luffield, or Woodcut I should say, and on the exit, beaches himself on the curb, gets a bit of gravel on his tyres, that won't do his traction any good, but still on his way, heading down towards Cops. Can he take it flat? Yes he can, keeps in 8th gear and a bit more battery on the exit. Now waiting for Maritz and Beckett's kink to the left, kink to the right, still flat out, then a little lift into the left-hander and then a big lift into the right-hander and then DRS down the hanger straight. Best overtaking zone on the track is Stowe, but in qualifying it's barely a corner. You will swing it in as hard as you want, slight dab of a brake down to 6th gear on the exit, burn the battery that you've got left, up to club, corner, heavy braking, hug the inside, 3rd gear, kisses the curb a little bit, avoid that inside curve, that's going to be treacherous in the main race, hug the inside and up to the line to complete a lap. That is a 26.3 as a banker by Vladislav. We'll see what his teammate is up to in the other MCK. Arsene around the final corner, he's slower than his teammate, only a 26.9. The SKG of Small Connor currently on his way. I think we've got a few more coming up to the line still as well. And Ben in the FZR was one of them, already setting the pace with a 25.5. Connor up to the line, goes P2 with 26.1. That's quite a statement banker, and FZR in general already setting statement bankers, a 25.4 and 5. Sees M1-2 currently. What Jensen can do in the UFRC. As Jack goes to P3 in a Mercedes. Jens out the final corner, slowest of the runners so far in P7. Next across the line was Dumb Donut with a 26.1. And Stellan was on a lap, he invalidated. Flatbread's currently on a lap. And LS around the final 2 corners now. In the SCC, we'll see where he can go. And he goes P4 with 26 flats. Half field have set their lap so far. A good few still in the pit lane though. Mexico was on a lap, but he invalidated. The other OMB of Salva just starting his lap. But FZR, if you just look at the gap, Jack with a 25.9 is best of the rest, and there's a whole 4 tenths between him and Ben Mills. And 4 tenths is a lot at a track like Silverstone, so FZR really proving why they are the championship leaders today. Though keeping in mind they don't have Thunder for this evening, who has been the race winner the last 2 rounds. That might be something to keep an eye on. CDR though, they won't be happy at how far behind they are FZR at the minute. If that's the pace come the race as well, and they'll be in a bit of trouble. OMB still have an outside shot of the title. We'll see what they can do. As Salva comes through the middle sector, 1.020 is pretty decent. So into Vale he goes now. We'll see if he can propel himself anywhere near the FZRs at the top. Seemed clean out of club. And he does go fastest. So there's a statement by OMB. He beats Liam by a 10th with a 25.3. So OMB bringing themselves back into the mix now. And Milan has popped himself up into 2nd. So that is a very good lap by the CCX driver. Keep in mind, CCX only 6th in the standings coming into this race. They haven't really got much to play for, but that is a very good lap time from Milan. A few invalidated their first runs, and also a few just plain didn't go out. I think possibly saving a set of softs for the race. See what the RMT of Alphonse can do. Currently the only driver on a lap. Looked a little wide into Magnussen Beckett's, and a 1:07 is a 2 representative. Stellan, Gibbs and Daniel will all be starting that shortly, and the other CTX of Major will also be on his lap soon, hoping to get his car somewhere near Milan in the top 2. But FZR are beatable, as proven by the OMB and CCX. Alphonse only goes P12 at 26.4. Stellan in the QSR, currently on his lap. Keep in mind, QSR are currently last in the standings and a bit of slipstreaming going on there. Whether that is legal or not, I'm not sure. But if it isn't, then QSR could be in a bit of trouble. Either way, as I was saying, QSR currently bottom in the championship. So they've really got everything to play for. They can just chuck the kitchen sink at this race and hope they can get as many points as possible. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone does file a report, because slipstreaming may not be illegal. We'll see if that helps Stellan out in any way, though, on his lap. And a 102.3 isn't a bad middle sector. But Dominic is retired for some reason. Alright, thanks, Luck. I appreciate the nickname. But Stellan invalidates and goes into the pit lane. Gibbs only to P12. We'll see what Daniel's doing. And Dominic retired, I think, is due to a quali ban. So Milan's carrying the torch for CCX today. In quali, that is, at least. SKG looking to hold on to 5th spot in the standings. And a 1-2-3 is a decent middle sector. We'll see if he can keep it hooked up through the last. A few more drivers out on track, and I think we're going to see a lot of cars cross the line soon. Final corner comes Daniel, and he jumps up to P5. That's not a bad lap by SKG. Let's see if the FZRs, though, can take back P1. Liam currently half a tenth up. He's got his teammate not too far behind him on a lap. Back on traction. And he's a tenth up. So this could rival the likes of Salva. Actually, sorry, Ben just did his lap before. He went to P2. So he still was unable to beat Salva, albeit by only 4 milliseconds. Can Liam beat him, though, around the final 2 corners? Up to the line. Liam does go to P1 with a 25.2. Beats Salva by a tenth. Salva about to start his lap, though. Jack improved to a 25.6. Still 3 tenths behind the next car. Connor went up to P6, so SKG 6 and 7. I think they'll be happy. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people giggling at the fact they're 6 and 7 now, although that is changed because Flatbread goes to P5. And that's a bit more like it from TDR, but they need to be beating the FZRs today. And we'll see what Dumb Donut's doing. In the first sector, though, he's a second and a half down, so things not going FZR's way at the minute. Let's see what Salva can do, and he is up in the first sector. And that looked a bit slidey through Luffield. And that is getting gravel on his tyres, and surely he's got to back out. Because I think that visually would have lost him a lot of time. I think he's going to carry on, though. And he has backed off, understandably. So he's going to make sure he can get another lap in at the end. The other OMB goes to P10. Almeco with a 25.9. Alphonse starting another lap in the RMT. Milan, though, keep an eye on him. Because through the middle sector, he's a tenth and a half up. So Milan, he's been doing very well for CCX this season. I think through Stowe, if he keeps it clean, he could be on course to get provisional pole. And this may actually be his last lap. I don't know if he'll have time to get round again. So around the last corner comes Milan. And to the line, can he take pole? Yes, he can. It's a 25-1. And the team that are 6th in the standings currently are on pole position. And while one of them's got a quali ban, we could see a CCX at the front and a CCX at the back, because a 25-1. FZR and OMB may struggle to beat that. So Milan, I don't know if I'll have time for another lap. But that is a commendable effort no matter what happens now. So, it's up to the rest to try and beat that. Milan has done all he can. Alphonse is in as well, so everybody apart from Stellan is in the pit lane. He's the only one not to set a lap yet. This will be his only lap that he gets. So can he get anywhere near his teammate? QSR bottom in the standings, but Jack's done alright there to get to P6. Can his teammate get anywhere near him? Round the last corner comes Stellan and goes P5. So that's a decent lap from Stellan. And I think QSR will be very happy with a 5-7 as it stands. I'll tell you who won't be happy though is TDR. They need to be beating FZR today, and they're currently only 6th and 12th. So they really need to get a wriggle on. But we await the rest of the cars to come out on track, and we're going to get about 17 cars all on a lap at once, looking to try and improve. And Ben Mills will be the first of those. So just 1/10 and a half off pole is Ben Mills. His teammate's even closer, just half a tenth. But Harvard love a 1-2 starting position, because then they can control the race from there, FZR. Milan, is he going to get round again? He's going out now, so it's going to be tight. I don't think he will. But Ben, round the final corner to start his final lap of the day. I'm trying to see how long in the session is left. Because Milan's coming out the pit lane now. And 1:13, so yeah, Milan is not going to make it. Unless he cuts every corner. Milan will not make the line. Ben, though, we'll see if he can rival Milan in any way. So down the Wellington straight through the first sector, he's nearly a 10th up. So he's on course to beat Milan as it stands. Stellan has retired. He will only be P5 at max. Vladislav goes to P8. That'll be his best position. Assuming he didn't get knocked down. But you see Milan behind Ben. He'll be praying Ben messes up on this lap, because the last thing the rest of the grid need is another FZR pole. But Ben winding his way through the middle sector. And we'll see what his middle sector split is like. He is lost a little bit of time in that middle sector. Still half a tenth up. But he needs a mega last sector if he wants to displace Milan at the top. This will see him go ahead of Salva. But it's all about stealing that pole off of Milan. Round the final corner comes Ben. Can he take pole for FZR? And he doesn't. He misses out by 13 milliseconds. Ben will be P2 as it stands. Liam, though, is on his lap, and he can still pick up a pole for FZR today. Salva is slightly down in the first sector, and he's started his lap very close to the back of an Alpine there. Riding on board with the OMB through the middle sector, Magnussen Beckett's got a bit of grass on his tyres. That's going to send him a bit wide. And in the middle sector, he's still slightly up. But again, he's going to need a mighty last sector if he wants to beat Milan. And there may be a bit of dirty air getting from that Alpine in front, which isn't going to help him one bit. Salva clobbers the curb in that final corner. Invalidates in the process, so Salva will only be P4. What is Liam doing, though? And he is up. Liam nearly a 10th up in the middle sector. Small Connor goes to P5. Decent effort from him. But can Liam nab pole off of Milan at the death? Flatbread goes to P5. That could be crucial for TDR. But Liam, he needs a great last sector here to beat Milan. If he keeps it clean, he will get it. Can FZR take another pole? Yes, he can. He steals it from Milan at the death by 35 milliseconds. Liam takes pole. Milan will be gutted by that, but that is your grid. It is an FZR 1 and 3. Milan misses out just right at the end. Salva is P4 and Flatbread only P5 for TDR. So Milan, I think, will be very frustrated to miss out there. But the inevitable FZR have taken another pole. TDR only 5th and 13th on a day they need to be beating FZR. I think SKG will be very happy with a 6-7, and there'll be a lot of people giggling at the thought of them being 6 and 7. And QSR will be very happy with an 8 and 9 as well, considering they are bottom of the standings. Dom in P20 had a quali ban, and his teammates up there on the front row, so contrasting fortunes for them. But we await the race where FZR will be loving their position they are in. Because although they've got a Ferrari in between them, they will be able to control the race. Oh, as I say that, as we go to the race, it is torrential rain here in Silverstone. And all that planning about trying to control this race through DRS trains is just going to be chucked out the window. Because the drivers will have to brave Silverstone in the wet, which is going to lead to some very eventful experiences around this track. And FZR will be rolling their eyes at this because I'm sure they would have wanted a dry race where they could control things. But now it's a toss-up who wins this Grand Prix. It is Inters, not quite wet tyres for the drivers. And whether this rain is going to go away is a question. But it will be a wet race, and that is something from the commentary booth that I am loving. So we await the start. We should get going soon. Our Fons has left for some reason, so hopefully he can get back in soon. Also trying to find out whether it's raining or race or not. But no DRS obviously now. So if Milan gets a good start, then FZR might be in a bit of trouble. I'm sure those at the back will like this rain. It gives them the chance to properly jump forward. And I'm being told that it is raining all race, so no chance for any interchangeable conditions. It is straight up. We're going to be increasing the wings for the drivers. Wet setups all around. And who can brave torrential rain at Silverstone? We should get going soon. I did say to ready at past. Where it's anyone's game. Liam will lead us away, but he'll be concerned by the CCX next to him. It'll be hoping his teammate can back him up. And TDR, they just need to beat FZR today, otherwise that could be game over in the standings. And we are going to get going for round 7 of the EFES Assist League. And we are away in Silverstone, crawling off the line. Go the drivers. Liam's got a good start. Milan flailing down a bit. And right outside goes Ben Mills into turn 1 and ghosting through Milan. There is Salva, who's up into P2. Milan having troubles off the start. And into turn 3 we go. It is Liam in the lead. Round the outside goes Flatbread, trying to get up into P3. Crucial for TDR here to clear Ben Mills. And on the inside of turn 4, the McLaren with the traction to get up into P3. Great start there from the TDR. Going off track there is the Mercedes of Stellan. He loses position to Small Connor. Down into Luffield, it is Liam who leads away from Salva, who goes wide. And now on the inside is Flatbread. That'll turn to the outside for Woodcut. And Salva just about holding the position. Who's got the traction? The OMB will just stay ahead as Jack battles with Small Connor out of Woodcut. There's a slide there from the other TDR of Dumbo Donut, heading down into Cops. Is anyone brave enough to shape for a move? Flatbread all over the back of OMB, who goes wide. Salva off the track, trying to hold that position against Flatbread. And the McLaren wants to clear the Aston Martin into Maggots and Beckett. It's Liam, though, already 8 tenths clear. He is happy to see this race out. But Flatbread will be eager to try and catch that FZR back up. He knows how crucial this is for the championship at this stage. All 20 cars still in the main train as we head down the hangar straight into Stowe Corner. There's a huge train being led by the Alpine of Vladislav in P9. As we have a look at the position changes, you'll see the biggest gamer is actually Vladislav. Also, Gamer Manstef up 4 positions from 18th on the grid into Vale. A huge plethora of cars battling. There's Leonard trying to get ahead of Dumb Donut. He can't find a way by. The Kicksalber of Rodriguez just about staying ahead of Dominic. But they're all cleanly through and Liam 8 tenths clear as we cross the line. Flatbread still in hot pursuit of the OMB of Salva, who is all over the road. Into turn 3, although so is Flatbread, struggling to slow the car down. And now Ben Mills will fancy his chances, trying to get back at the TDR. Milando with a disastrous start down to P5 from the front row. His car seemed to ghost at the start there, so maybe a bit of connection issues for the Ferrari. But SKG, they'll be liking their position in P6 and 8. Only FZR have 2 cars in the top 8 other than them. And QSR have done well to hold good positions in P7 and 10 as well. Meanwhile, Gamer, he was up 4 positions, making that 5 positions, round the outside of Almeco, down the back straight. The Aston don't want to give it up. And as we head down towards Cop, surely someone's going to back out. And down the straight, is anyone going to back out? No, he's not. He holds it around the outside of Cops. Contact made and running on board with Dom. He sees these 2 in front, scrapping away. And they're still going to go wheel to wheel into Maggots and Beckett. Someone has to give it up. And Gamer does live to fight another day. And we'll just follow him through Maggots and Beckett's now. Will he be close enough for him? Dan Hanger straight drifting around Maggots and Beckett's we go. Riding on board with the RB in the tow of the Aston Martin in front. Is he going to try for a move into Stowe? I think he's just a bit too far behind. Meanwhile, cutting back to the leaders, Flatbread's lost touch with Salva a little bit. And Salva's now all of a sudden caught up to Liam. So it's not going to be as plain sailing as Liam thought, because the OMB is piling him under all sorts of pressure. We've also got the question of what setups have the teams gone for. Higher wings or lower wings, you need it both at Silverstone. But a wet track, who knows what they've gone for. Ben Mills looking to get that position back on Flatbread heading into turn 3. Just has to stay behind for now. No DRS for the drivers. It's just battery and slipstream they've got to deal with. Meanwhile, there is Small Connor going wide. He's under pressure from Vladislav, who's under pressure from Stellan, who's up the inside of him at turn 4. Rounding turn 5 we go. Vladislav holds it on the outside. Great racing there and drifting round turn 5 goes Vladislav to hold the position. Riding on board with Stellan though. Does he want to keep his nose in? No, he doesn't. Stellan early on the brakes and Vladislav will hold P9. Still under pressure though from the Mercedes, who tries to go around the outside. That's going to leave him vulnerable to the McLaren of Dundonut on the exits of Luffield and nearly contacts. But Stellan just about keeping the position. We cut back to the front runners where the top 2 breaking away from Flatbread a little bit. While Flatbread's got his own troubles of Ben, Milan and Daniel behind him. Jack as well keeping in touch with that train. So 2 mini trains going on here, though Flatbread still just about keeping touch with the leaders, which I think is all he wants to do at the minute. He just needs to make sure they don't get away. He needs that FZR in his sights to make sure that he's still in contention for this championship. Into Stowe Corner for the 3rd time today. still not really many position changes. The whole field still very close to each other. As off the track again goes the other TDR of Dumb Donut. And Alphonse again having some connection issues, lagging out there. But Salva sets a new fastest lap, followed soon by Flatbread. So he's still lapping quickly and managing to just about keep with the leaders. And maybe we've reached a stage where the field starts to slightly spread out. They're just focusing on managing their tyres. Tyres do wear very heavily in the rain. But speaking of that, Salva, this is the closest he's been to Liam all race so far. And he's right in the wheel tracks of that Williams. Heading down the straight, Liam will be in no hurry to let that OMB by, because that will leave him vulnerable to the attacks of their title rivals. TDR behind Flatbread knows if he wins this race, that will be a boost in the title for them. And on lap 4, everyone just focused on tyre managing at this stage, looking to capitalise on any errors made by those at the front. But practically the whole field still within the DRS of each other, all the way down to Almeco, who's a bit back from Gamer behind, who actually did get past in the end and is up 5 positions, and he's now on the back of Leonard as well. So Gamer really showing a lot of pace in the UFRC, and this would be a big boost for them in the standings as well. They're only P9, second to last in the standings, and now Gamer hot on the heels of the Haas. And now the SEC goes a little wide, so into Stowe. Will he be able to try and make a shape for a move at Bale? Burning a bit of battery there goes the SEC, so not quite close enough. And they'll stay in P13 for now, but he's showing a lot of promise early on in this race. Meanwhile, Flatbread's closed in on the leaders a little bit, and Salva still keeping Liam honest at the front. Liam, though, saving up his battery a little bit, has still got a lot to play with behind. And the tops 8 really, all tightly packed. Ben is still keeping Flatbread very honest, and Flatbread goes a little wide there. That might leave him vulnerable down the Wellington straight, slides out of turn 5. Will Ben be close enough? I think he's just a bit too far back. It's very difficult to get close enough in the wet, and Flatbread lives to fight another day in the podium positions. Meanwhile, battling behind, Dom had a quali ban, and he's up 6 positions. Make that 5 though, because Almeco's coming back at him into Woodcut. They go now, and sliding round turn 6 goes Dominic. Rounding outside, he will just have to concede that position. Will he look to get it back though? Heading down into Cops. Almeco's running out of battery, but they'll just have to stay behind. His teammate Milan's doing very well, and Dominic's trying to join in. If he gets this position on Almeco, he'll become the highest mover in the race so far. Hugo in P17's had a dreadful start. Started P10, he's down to P17. He's also under pressure from the UFRT of Jens. But we look back to Dominic, who's got a lot of battery to play with, down the hanger straight. Almeco's running out and hitting into Stowe. Round the outside he goes. Almeco don't want to give this up, but all the way the Ferrari goes. That is a lovely move if he can pull it off. On the inside, downwards to Vale, they make contact, and Almeco just stays ahead. He is not willing to give this position up in a hurry, and practically being pushed around the track by the CCX driver. And now he's got even more battery to play with. Almeco has drained all of it. And will he shape for a move into turn 3 possibly? No, he won't. Almeco holds the inside line. But now the switchback at turn 4. And a double switchback possibly. Almeco parks the bus. He is not whatsoever letting this CCX by, despite it clearly being quicker. But the Aston doing its best to keep him behind, and he's doing a very good job so far. Some very impressive defensive driving from the OMB. And his teammates doing the attacking driving at the minute, having a look at Liam for the lead. And Dom maybe just backing off a little to recharge that battery and have a go again next lap. Meanwhile, Small Connor dropped back a bit from Jack in front. He's coming under pressure from Vladislav behind. He's already up 3 positions, and he's looking to make it 4 in the MCK. Although that slide out of Magnussen Beckett's will not help his worries. Still, the top 11 all right with each other, although here comes Vladislav, who was looking in front. Now he's had to look behind because Stellan on the inside into Stowe. Will he get that position? Yes, he will. Does Vladislav want to hold it on the inside? No, he doesn't. And the Alpine drops down to P10. So QSR last in the standings, currently P7 and 9. This will be a great points haul for them. As the fastest laps continue to fall through, maybe that shows the track getting a bit drier. As more purple lap times, as here is Major Dominic. He got the position ahead of Almeco, now has lost it to Gibbs. So the Haas driver capitalising on the Ferrari's blunder. Into turn 3 we go. Can the Ferrari get it back? As there is Almeco defending from the RB and kicks Alba of Hugo and Jens behind. Back down the inside goes Almeco on Milan, or Major Dominic I should say. He just has to concede that position. That was never going to work out. And back down the straight, the FCC driver has capitalised on all the battling in front, and now Hugo's trying to get back ahead of Jens. Into turn 6, contact made, and Hugo will just have to drop back a little bit behind. But almighty battling going on at the rear of the field. Dominic will be frustrated by this. I think he feels he's got a lot more pace, and the Haas and Aston Martin are really preventing him gaining on the train that is for the lead all the way down to P14. Liam, though, it's been plain sailing for him and FZR in this race so far. He's got by 7 laps without any real attack from Salva behind. Some drivers starting to move over to wet patches as those intermediate tyres start to overheat. And Salva will keep an eye on his mirrors because Flatbread is not relinquishing his attack on second place. But FZR still in a comfortable position, 1st and 4th. They'll be happy if the race ended like this. But you can guarantee that this is not how this race is going to end. As Vladislav now sets fastest lap in P10, despite losing a position to Stellan last lap. Meanwhile, they look to the inside. There is Salva, and down the inside, Salva takes the lead of the race. OMB now lead at Silverstone. Liam all of a sudden had a surprise attack by the OMB. And now he's trying to come back into turn 6. Just stays behind for now. But we have a new race leader. And FZR, now they'll start to worry because their title rival, TDR, are right behind them all of a sudden. Liam, he looked in control of this race, but a surprise move at turn 4 by Salva has seen them lead. And OMB will fancy their chances at the title as well. It's just a shame that Salva's teammate Almeco is struggling down in P16. But the whole field, all the way down to P11, right with each other. And now we'll see what Salva can do in clean air. And we'll see how Liam deals with attacks from behind. Meanwhile, Stellan looking to make another move on Small Connor. Is he close enough into Stowe? I don't think he is. He's pushing the Red Bull around the corner. And they're all just following through so far. It's one SKG, one QSR, another SKG, and another QSR. As Salva sets a new fastest lap with that clean air, he's starting to break away from Liam a little. Liam breaking away from Flatbread behind as Ben has really been within 5/10 of Flatbread this whole race, but has never been able to make any sort of attack really. Salva even breaks a 1 second gap between Liam, so he's really showing what he's got in clean air. I wonder how Liam will deal with this. Salva did burn a lot of his battery to try and pull away. But just 8.6 seconds cover the top 13. And also interesting to note when drivers will try and start to pits, because I don't know how much wear they get in the wet conditions. But you'd expect them to do a half and half race, so pits around lap 13, if not earlier, because the undercut will be very powerful. Meanwhile, a position change for SKG, and they are now 6th and 7th. The QSR of Jack losing out, and now he's got his teammate and Vladislav right behind him. First penalty of the day goes to Leonard in P12, but we watch the two QSRs defending from the NCK behind. Side by side they go into Stowe. Is there a bit of team play going on here? Doesn't look like it, because wheel to wheel they go. Round Stowe corner, riding aboard with Vladislav now to the outside of Jack, who let his teammate by, but now contact made with the NCK, and he just about stays ahead. Riding aboard with Dumb Donuts, watching both of them, and into the final corner. On the inside is Vladislav. Wheel to wheel they go, and nicely done there from the NCK. Bit of wheel hooking, but now with the inside into turn one, he should get that move done, but he don't want to give it up. And that is brilliant defending from Jack to keep that position. And now Dumb Donut is now on the back of the NCK, but cannot find a way by. So Jack does hold on to that P9, and he lets his teammate go in the process. Elmeco, to compound his horrible day, is down to P16 with a penalty. As, interestingly, Flatbread, I don't know if he made an error that lap, but he's now dropped over a second and a half behind Liam. So the top two starting to break away, and Flatbread holding up this train behind him. But SKG in a very good position at the moment is 6th and 7th, QSR 8th and 9th. And then Dumb Donut and Leonard at the back of his train. Interestingly, Gibbs, he has really started to reel this train in. Dom's not too far behind with him, but the SET has got a lot of pace. And keep an eye on that gap to the lead, because I think he actually might be one of the fastest people on track. But Salva breaking away from Liam, Liam breaking away from Flatbread. That train we had in the early laps starting to disperse. Meanwhile, change in position because Milan is diving into the pit lane. So lap 10, that is a very early pit stop if he wants to do a one stop. But Milan has pulled the trigger and is into the pit lane. So how do the others react? Do they push full out now in the hopes to stay ahead of Milan, or are they happy for him to pit and go longer? All 20 drivers still in this race, may I add, which is quite impressive. But Milan, he'll want to come out ahead of Alphonse, and he will. So that's crucial for Milan's race. He's now got a full lap of clean air to push into. And what can Milan do? Can he undercut these guys? Or will he undercut these guys? All depends on if they stay out or not. So Salvo with a little error there into Cops. Liam has closed up on the OMB. Clobbers a curb into Maggots and Beckett's as well. And Flatbread's even honed back in on them as well. So every time that gap opens up, it closes back down. Now, what do they do? Do they pit as Liam has a look to the inside there? Just thinks better of it. But he nearly had the lead there. Do they pit? No, they do not. They're happy to stay out. Flatbread does, though. And he's now looking to both cover Milan and undercut the top two. Just about gets it stopped. Into the final corner we go. The top two have stayed out, so have their teammate. And Flatbread, interestingly, sets the fastest lap as he comes into the pit lane. Whether somebody will try the Yana Watmere strategy at the end of this race is a good question. I don't know whether it's been banned in this league, if someone can let me know. But the Yana Watmere strategy of diving into the pits on the last lap, in the wet, it is quicker than just driving around a normal layout. So if you're Flatbread sitting behind the two leaders come the last lap, it wouldn't be the worst idea. Meanwhile, coming out of the pits is Flatbread. There is Milan. So the McLaren will hold position over the Ferrari. Annoyingly for them, though, they've come out in a bit of traffic. Artem, has he pitted? No, he has not. So Flatbread needs to clear this NTK as soon as possible. And he's burning all his battery to do it. So down his side he goes. No, he doesn't. He is still behind, and this is going to be very frustrating. He was hoping for a clean lap to try and pull the undercut, but he is stuck behind the Alpine. And this is just allowing Milan to close back up. So this is a disaster for Flatbread, he needs to clear Artem as soon as possible. Into Cops we go. And will he get good enough drive to shape for a move? Artem doesn't want to give this up easily. And crucially, Artem's got the ERS to defend as well. So the MCK not doing TDR any favours here. And he's burning as well. He doesn't want to let him by. Interestingly, the leaders have stayed out. So they're not even going to bother covering Flatbread. But this is really arming their race. And he's staying out. Meanwhile, battling here between Hugo, Jens and Raw into the last corner. We've got a plethora of people in the pit lane. Small Connor is the leader of them. But around the final corner, Flatbread under pressure from Milan now, who sets the fastest lap of the race. Into turn 1 we go. Coming out the pit lane is those behind. Small Connor comes out now, so they're still a bit ways behind. But Flatbread really needs to clear R10 because it's costing him precious race time. The top 3 still happy in their formation. And I've only just reached the halfway point of this race, which is quite incredible to believe. But every lap they stay behind Artem is just going to cost them more and more time, and it's going to leave Flatbread more under pressure from Milan. We're riding on board through Maggots and Beckett's. You can see how treacherous it is. And Artem keeps nailing the exits out of Maggots and Beckett's, which is just enabling him to stay ahead. Will Flatbread stay ahead of Milan, though? Because Milan very close into Stowe. Down the inside goes the CCX. Oh, Flatbread's got good drive out of Stowe, but still wheel to wheel on the exit they go. Artem dives into the pit lane, running outside of Bale. Goes Milan. The CCX goes a bit deep, tries to hang on the inside, but cannot get by. And just has to stay behind the CDR at the moment. More drivers pit. Daniel was the leader of those who pitted. He's coming out of the pit lane now. And he's actually managed to overcut his teammates somewhat, because they have been stuck behind the Kick-Sauber of Alphonse. Meanwhile, Flatbread, now with a bit of clean air, can try and push into it to catch the leaders. But he's still under pressure from Milan behind, who's got good drive, heading down the Wellington straight. Flatbread does not want to give this up, and he's just going to have to stay behind. Leonard gets another penalty in the process of him pushing. But 27 seconds behind the leaders now. We'll see if they can make any inroads. But Milan putting pressure on Flatbread here is not going to help his situation, because it's just going to keep Flatbread more preoccupied with the guy behind instead of those in front. Daniel, though, he's done well. He's got 2 lap fresher tyres than these two. And he's only 2 seconds behind them, so that's going to be game on between them two. Salva is into the pit lane. So the leader of this race has decided to pit. Where he will come out is the big question. Stellan also pits with him. Salva gets going again. And we watch for Flatbread. And there's a yellow flag at Stowe, and that is a safety car. The safety car is out. Dumb Donut is in the wall of the Stowe corner, I think. And the TDR driver has just given a gift to FZR. That is utterly calamitous. TDR have lost one of their drivers, and in the process have just gifted a 1-2 to FZR. And Flatbread and Salva will be absolutely furious with that. FZR will be thinking how this race cannot go any better for them, because they now get a free pit stop under the safety car, and surely they're not going to lose time to those behind, because they have to abide by the delta. So Dumb Donuts inexplicably has both taken himself out of the race and given a safety car advantage to FZR. So that and Stellan actually has overcut Flatbread and Milan from all that. So somehow, Flatbread and Milan getting held up behind Artem, that has allowed the QZR of Stellan, who nearly brake tests Flatbread, to get up into a net P4. Keep in mind, this is the team who was last in the standings, but FZR, they're surely going to both pit Ben, making a bit of a gap for his teammate. But will they come out both ahead of Salva? Though we'll have to double stack, keep in mind. Salva just heading through Stowe. But he's got to abide by the Delta. That only applies up to the line, so this is crucial for the race. Oh, FZR stayed out. Have they? No, that's a glitch. I don't know what's going on in the pit lane. Yeah, they're glitching between going on track and off track. I don't know what's going on. But Salva around the last corner. FZR at the pit exit now. And FZR are in a 1-2 position. Salva is P3. His teammates in the pit lane, Stellan, Flatbread, and Milan will be P4, 5, and 6. But this is an absolute disaster for anybody other than FZR. They'll be absolutely loving the situation they are in. And now this race is suddenly blown wide open. Right, now what's going on here? Because we're having some glitching issues with the timing tower. We're trying to figure out where everyone is on the track. The safety car has not let them stay behind for some reason. They've asked it to overtake it. Ben and Liam are leading. Vladislav gets a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellows. I would have thought they'd just all bunch up behind the safety car now, but they've gone round again. Jack gets a penalty as well. Oh, what is going on in Silverstone? Timing tower better sort itself out, but a lot of drivers getting penalties. Whether they're fair penalties, I'm not sure. Jens gets a drive through, Leonard gets a drive through, Game and Mance gets a drive through, Jack gets another 10-second penalty. And F125 causing another plethora of glitches. I think the time tower's finally sorted itself out. Dumb Donut has retired. If we have a look at penalties, you'll see all the drive-through penalties on what's happened there. Stellan into the wall and is out of this race. What has happened there? I just got a glimpse of it. Salva, are we retiring? Because a lot of people are just diving off. I think the lobby may have just crashed. Yeah, we must be retiring. Yeah, everyone's retiring. The lobby has broken itself. I wondered what was going on for a second there, but we are retiring. Well, FZR will be fuming that there's a restart, because that would have left them in the prime spot to win this race. But we will restart, and we will be back shortly. So hello everybody, we are back, and following the safety car glitch we had before, we are ready to commence with a 9-lap sprint. The sprint has been set to wet weather, so it will just be a plain, straight up, inters race to the finish. And the grid has been set to what it was before the glitch, but after the pit stop, so that still leaves FZR with a 1-2. Crucially, that leaves OMB with a 3-4. So Emeko, who was at the back with penalties, has all of a sudden had been promoted to P4. Keep in mind, a lot of the grid does have penalties, which will stay. Obviously, we won't know what they are at the minute. But we are ready to get going again, and we are underway for this 9-lap shootout. The two FZRs lead us away comfortably into turn 1, followed by Raw, who is under pressure from Stellan, rounding outside into P4. He goes flatbread, ghosting through the Aston Martin, and meanwhile Salva already up into P1, rounding outside, ghosting through his car, unable to make contact with them, and that's promoted up to P2. Off the track he goes now, and now Liam on the outside, I should say. Ben takes the lead, and now running outside goes Stellan off the track. Contact made on the grass he goes, and now Milan's having a look to the inside on the Salva into P3. Goes the CCX. Brilliant start from him, but now into Luffield. It's still an FZR 1-2, but the FZRs have changed positions. Round Woodcut we go. It's a chaotic start. Salva, the only OMB left in contention after Almeco's dropped down to P13. Stellan in a brilliant result for QZR at the minute in P5, and Daniel and Flatbread in P6 and 7, and now Daniel under pressure from Jack, who's up to P7. QSR are on for a brilliant result at the minute in P7 and P5. Under pressure now, Flatbread from the MTK of Vladislav, who all follow them through, and this 9-lap sprint shootout has started with a bang, and now Milan is in hot pursuit of the two FZRs at full revs down the main straight. Bit of damage at the back, flying off somebody. But I only just got into the spectator view as the race was starting, so I was as unprepared as you lot were. But heading through the Vale chicane is FZR in exactly the position they need to be, but Milan is not going to relinquish this easily. Around the final corner we go. Salva, Stella, Daniel, Jack, and Flatbread in hot pursuit, but Flatbread drops down to P9 because Vladislav is up to P8, and TDR's championship hopes are falling apart here in Silverstone. Back down the inside goes Flatbread, but sliding the rear, loses a position to the MTK. Now Small Connor's looking to make a move. Hugo Rodriguez down the inside in the kick Salva, wheel to wheel with Small Connor, gets a position, contact made, around turn 5 we go now. Small Connor skids his way out of turn 5, and now he's under pressure from Gibbs down the main straight. On the inside goes the SEC, squeezes him all the way to the inside of the Wellington straight, and now more contact made as Small Connor slots in behind Hugo, who's up to P10, and they all file through Luffield now, as behind again Almeco, who's dropped down to P14, battling with Jens, who he was in the last race as well. But back to the front we go. The whole field separates by 5/10 apiece. It is still FZR 1 and 2. Milan, OMB, and Stellan will look to disrupt that. Salva still knows OMB have an outside shot of the title, but he needs to beat the FZRs here today. He'll be hoping that Milan can somehow beat the FZRs to help OMB's championship hopes, but TDR is unravelling for them, as Flatbread is all the way down to P9 in this race. 2 laps gone, and it is still all good for FZR. Milan is putting Liam under pressure, but not enough pressure to shape for a move at the moment. Running on board with the Ferrari. And I think there's a bit of a gear problem because it's basically max revs every time we go up with him, so I'm just going to stay in the action cam because on board sounds hideous. But Milan right on the back of Liam through turn 1 and gets himself beached on the curve. That's not going to help his situation. Now Salva all over the back of him. Down the inside, he has a look, nearly slams into the back of the CCX and into turn 4. Holds the inside, goes Milan, doesn't want to let him by, and just about holds a position, but Salva is all over the back of the Ferrari, and I want to ride on board with him, but it sounds horrible thanks to F125 just glitching again. The amount of glitches we've got in this game is just horrendous, and it needs to be somehow fixed. But the top 8 all right with each other.
And as it stands, FZR would really put themselves in a clear position in the championship. If they get a 1-2 today, that might just be game over for everybody else. You got a 1-2 in Brazil, they got another win in Kota, and another 1-2 here would practically seal the deal. And off the track there goes Salva. That's probably going to be a warning, but he's managed to keep a good distance between him and Stella because of that. I'm not sure Stellan will be back too happy with that, but I'm not sure QSR will be too bothered really, because a P5 and a P7 will be a mega result for them. As I say, though, Jack under pressure from Vladislav into the Vale chicane. He's just about staying ahead. But yeah, QSR last in the standings. If they finish as it is, they'll score more points today than they have in the entire season. But Ben is breaking away, possibly Liam, holding up the rest just to confirm that FZR do get a win today. But the CCX of Milan will be eager to not let that happen, as Flatbread continues to struggle at the back in P9. The other TDR is out of the race, so TDR may see their title hopes gone after this race. And for OMB's sake, Salva needs Milan to get a wriggle on. Already halfway through this sprint, how things could have gone differently had we followed the normal race. But either way, it looked like an FZR win written in the stars, as Liam goes a little wide. Still no way of getting close to Liam for Milan. He's just going to need to keep prioritising his exits out of Maggots and Beckett's, and now is a slide for Liam, and Milan is hot on the heels of the Williams down the straight. Sorry for the sound, that's an EA glitch, but burning all the battery they've got, heading down to Stowe. Is he close enough? Has a little look to the inside, but just cannot get by, and out of Stowe we go. Liam still just far enough ahead to stay ahead. Stellan right behind Salva. Could he pick up the podium for QSR this evening? What an incredible result that would be if he did, but still, it would be brilliant to hang on to a P5, and he doesn't want to risk anything. Ben continues to pull away, 2.8 seconds clear. Liam trying to guarantee a FZR win today. And he's doing a good job at holding Milan and the train behind up. Will Milan be close enough for a dive? Has a little look, but just cannot get by. Liam doing his best to fend off those behind. And as we follow through turn 5, it is ERS advantage to Liam. And I'll be charging that all up around the middle sector as best as possible. Out of Woodcut, that gap extends 3 seconds. It's all going FZR's way currently. Still, Milan needs to just keep trying to get the best exits out of Maggots and Beckett's as possible. That's the same thing Liam will be doing. Is he going to be close enough this time? He seems a bit further back, and Milan may just have to concede before. And I think there's been an incident for Leonardo at the back. A disaster day for SEC. They're now 17th and 19th. After they were running pretty decently in the points. Hugo wheel to wheel with Small Connor as SKG tries to get themselves back up into the top 10. Hugo back down inside, does stay ahead of the SKG, and Small Connor in a kick Salva sandwich as we come out the final corner. So we foul through, we cut back to the leaders. Well, Liam once again holding position. Does Milan shake for a move? No, he doesn't. And as all the laps tick by, Ben just pulls further and further away. And a win today would really see FZR out of sight, as TDR's day just continues to get worse and worse. Flatbread P9 in the middle of nowhere, really. And after it looked good in the original race, Flatbread was really challenging. It has all fallen away from them. And his teammate retiring certainly didn't help that. And his teammate retiring has actually put FZR in this position in the first place. So it's just not gone well at all for TDR. It has all gone perfectly for FZR. Milan continues to pile the pressure on Liam in front. And it's still a decent exit out of Maggots and Beckett's, but he just cannot get close enough to Liam. He's doing a very good job at defending. We followed through. And everybody just spaced out a little bit. I think the sprint has meant we're really seeing the true pace of the drivers, and Ben is really showing what pace he had in this race. As Almeco follows up what he did in the original race and gets a penalty. Vladislav, crucially, gets a penalty. That'll see him drop down to P10 currently. Leonardo gets another penalty at the back. But the gap now 4.2 seconds with 3 laps to go. And Milan needs a miracle if he wants to deny FZR a win today. OMB and Salva need a miracle if they want to deny FZR a win today. But it has looked from the start like it'll be an FZR win. And ever since Brazil and that 1-2 finish, it's looked like it's going to be their championship. And this is really going to cement themselves at the top of the table. We fouled through once again. Milan still right in the wheel tracks of Liam, but unable to clear. That gap continues to increase as Ben makes his way onto the penultimate lap. Can Salva or Stellan behind get close enough? Oh, Stellan goes Tokyo drifting through Maggots and Beckett's there. Somehow kept it within a good distance of Salva. But he's not driving like someone who's on for a best result. Is he going to go for a dive on Salva? No, he isn't. As Jack comes under pressure from Vladislav. Either way, this has been a brilliant day for QSR, who are bottom of the standings at the minute, but are going to rack in a huge haul of points, and you've got to give credit to them in treacherous conditions around Silverstone. They've kept it on track as Leonardo is having a disaster day at the back, going grass cutting instead of racing. We are on the penultimate lap now, though, and we'll see if Milan can get anywhere close to Liam. As they're down the inside, a look from Salva just stays behind. But he wants that podium, and now the switch back out at turn 4, sliding his Aston around turn 5. And now Milan losing touch with Liam a bit, and Salva's now looking the ever opportunist. But FZR, they're really going to be the only team highly scoring here. I think QSR are going to be the second highest scoring team today. This is the penultimate lap. Every driver is just going to start charging their battery to prepare for that final lap carnage. But it just seems too difficult to get close enough. The slipstream is not nearly as powerful as you'd want it to be. But let's just see if somebody tries the Jarno Opmeer strategy of diving into the pits on the last lap. I don't know whether that's been banned, but if it hasn't, then it's definitely worthy of having a go. As Dom gets a penalty down in P15 to compound his poor day. Though CTX, Milan with a P3 would still be a very good result, but he's having a look at Liam down the inside. He goes into the Vale chicane, just thought better of it. But Liam is trying to hang on to this FZR 1-2 out of club now. Liam just about staying out of Milan, but Milan does not want to give this up. Liam's got a bit more battery to burn. But the CCX isn't content with just a podium. He wants to ruin that FZR 1-2. And we are on the final lap. It's going to be Ben winning. But will his teammate be up there second with him? And that's a good exit from Milan, but Liam is equal to it. And Milan burns a bit more battery when he didn't need to. Liam still got a huge sum in the tank. Stellan, this has been a brilliant drive from him. He's just waiting to pick up the scraps behind. Jack putting pressure on Daniel behind. But out of Woodcut, Liam burning everything he's got left. Into Cops we go. Liam still with a nice gap over Milan behind. And he's just got to nail Magnussen Beckett's one more time, and it looks like FZR are going to claim a second 1-2 of the season. We thought it was rare getting it in Brazil, but they're looking to repeat it. They've had to deal with a restart and the wet weather, but FZR, it feels like everything the drivers throw at them, everything the weather throws at them, they are just inevitable. And with a 1-2 here today, that might just wrap up the championship. And then, round the final corner, is going to win the British Grand Prix. Liam is going to come home ahead of Milan to wrap up another 1-2 finish for FZR. Milan will take the final spot on the podium, Salva P4 and Stellan P5, along with Jack P7 for a brilliant QSR result. Daniel for SKG with a good result in P6 as well. Flatbread in P8 surely caps off TDR's title hopes in as a terrible day resolves for them. Vladislav in P9 and Hugo rounds out the top 10. And FZR have really put themselves clear of the rest, and barring a miracle in the last three for everybody else, that might just be a game over in the championship. So that has been your race. Just ignore this extra bit. Obviously, we've had to deal with that sprint, but thank you all for watching in a race where FZR might have just wrapped up the title in a dominant performance from Ben and Liam. And we had to deal with a restart halfway through due to safety car glitching, but even after that, FZR looked unstoppable. A commendable effort from Milan to give them a run for their money, and a good points haul for them at CTX, but still unable to beat FZR. And a big shout out to QSR with their biggest points haul of the season, which may just lift them outside of the bottom spot. But thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week in Assist 2s, where we will be at the wonderful track of Canada around Montreal. So be sure to join us there next Tuesday. But I've been KJ, and thank you all for watching. Goodbye.